What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Bitcoin and Markets. Happy Friday out there. Hope you guys had a great week. Hope you guys have plans for the weekend. Let's wrap it up here with some late breaking news on Bitcoin, some price analysis, some price talk, and then we will hit it for the weekend. Let me share my screen and jump right into it. Bitcoinandmarkets.com. That's where you find all my stuff. Join the email list. It's free. There is paid tiers if you want to support the show, but the main feed there is free. So check that out. So, okay, late breaking. We had this tweet coming out that the SEC has approved the New York Stock Exchange options trading on spot Bitcoin ETFs. Huge news. This is going to be, take Bitcoin to that next level. The ETFs, of course, was one step into becoming kind of a big boy asset class, and now this is for real. Now this is also on a sped up time frame. They have originally, when they did a rule change for this about 4 weeks ago, that was months early. Like they could have waited until the end of the year, I think, or maybe the first quarter of next year, but they approved it early. And now this was the same. This had a long lifespan. They could have waited to actually fully approve these things until into 2025, but they didn't. They rushed it to being approved. So this tells me there's some major players on Wall Street that are dying for this exposure. So what does this exactly mean? Well, I'm no expert in this. We did go over this originally when this rule was first introduced, but here is a good post from Jeff Park. You guys can find that on Twitter. Actually, I'll pop that right into the Telegram right now. I am live streaming on YouTube, Rumble, Twitter, and Telegram. Check out the Telegram. That's our main community. And if you are on Twitter, jump over to YouTube or Rumble, like, comment, subscribe. I think we're like 10 away from monetization on YouTube. So just jump over there and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. They'll make live streams a little more fun. Okay, so that is shared with Telegram. And the big thing here is that, well, let's just read a little bit of this. If this can make it bigger, or does it make it smaller? Makes it smaller, actually. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Okay, with today's approval, with today's approval by the SEC to list and trade Bitcoin ETF options. Now, this is the original one. When did he put this out? September 20th. So this is not today. This is the original rule change. Witnessing the most extraordinary upside vol of vol in financial history. I felt this deserved a fuller explanation, so I want to highlight a few characteristics of Bitcoin, the nature of the regulated options market, and the powerful combination of the two. Without exaggeration, this marks the most monumental advancement possible for the crypto market, Bitcoin market. This is the Bitcoin market. I was just looking at Ethereum before we went live with the Telegram guys, and it's dead. There is no such thing as a crypto market. It is just Bitcoin market. For the first time, Bitcoin's notional value will be fractionally banked with ETF options. What do I mean by that? While Bitcoin's non-custodial cap supply is its greatest virtue, it has also been a drag, limiting its ability to create synthetic leverage. Despite Deribit's efforts, it never adequately solved the counterparty versus capital efficiency matrix for wide adoption, and CME futures options require too much active management. Now, for the first time, Bitcoin will be a regulated market where the OCC protects clearing members from counterparty risks. This means Bitcoin's synthetic notional exposure can grow exponentially without the JTD's risks that have kept investors at bay. In a liquidity-driven world, unlocking synthetic flows with leverage represents the greatest opportunity for Bitcoin ETFs, enhancing their financial utility compared to spot markets. Additionally, Bitcoin can now express duration as part of the leverage calculation for the first time. Retail traders have embraced perps to take on leverage, but these instruments are imperfect, more akin to a series of zero-day expiration options that must be rolled over constantly. With Bitcoin options, Investors can now take duration-based portfolio allocation bets, especially for long-term horizons. There is a good chance that owning a long-dated OTM calls as a premium spread will give investors more bang for their buck than a fully collateralized position that could drop by 80% over the same period. People often compare Bitcoin to call options due to its premium decay and occasional explosive upside. Now you can bet on vol to the upside with the same or less premium while capturing more delta over the longer time frame, an extremely compelling opportunity. Bitcoin also has unique volatility characteristics, and one of the most important is the volatility smile. Most equities or indices display a volatility skew where upside vol is cheaper than downside vol. So if you're hedging or using options to capture the downside versus the upside, that upside is cheaper because there's less possibility of it going sky high. There's always a possibility of a crash, though. Bitcoin is different. It has volatility on both sides. Bitcoin is unique because melt ups are as frequent as melt downs. So the market demands a risk premium on both sides. And I'll say it's more likely to have a melt up. Look where we're at, 69,000. We've gone a long way from zero. Okay, so Bitcoin has more likelihood of melting up than melting down. All right. The practical implication, it's seen in the second order Greek called vana. Historically, with call options or spot rises, implied volatility tends to fall. So while the options delta increases, the rate of increase slows. This is positive vana, which creates a sort of drag. However, Bitcoin options have negative vana. As spot goes up, so does volatility, meaning delta increases even faster. When dealers who are short gamma hedge this, a gamma squeeze, Bitcoin's case becomes explosively recursive. More upside leads to even more upside, as dealers are forced to keep buying at higher prices. A negative Vanna gamma squeeze acts like a refueling rocket. And I remember reading this before to you guys. This was reminding me of a Veblen good. So as price rises, demand rises. Now, this is the Wall Street version of that. Okay, this is the Wall Street version of a Veblen good. And this is what the options creates here for Bitcoin. So it's a very major deal. The most crucial factor that ties all this together, Bitcoin itself cannot be diluted to accommodate this newfound leverage. That's very important. That's what gives it the melt up possibility. That's what gives it the upside volatility is the fixed supply, because everything else, I mean, can be debased, right? Everything else can be, the supply can be increased, but Bitcoin cannot. So that's where the melt up comes from. Where was I? Compare this to stocks like GameStop or AMC, where management can issue new shares to exploit pricing anomalies, putting a cap on the stock's rise. Bitcoin can never do that. You might ask, but Jeff, what about commodities like oil or natural gas? Aren't they comparable? And if so, why is Bitcoin different? The key difference is that most physical commodities have expiration dates, meaning they tend to trade with the futures market, not the spot market. All right. So now oil and natural gas might not have like a date where they have to be sold by. They can stay in storage for a long time, but they are consumed. Okay, that's the main point here. They're consumable. That's what makes money different. Money is something that's not consumed. That's why this makes me think of the BRICS. Okay, so the BRICS, the group of nations called the BRICS, and people are always talking about them wanting to de-dollarize, and maybe remember Zoltan Pozar, he's like, oh, there's going to be a currency of a commodity basket. Why doesn't that make sense? Right here, because they trade off the futures market, because they're consumed. Money is not consumed. So that's why oil doesn't work as good money, because it's consumed constantly. Stock to flow. Think of stock to flow. The flow is very high compared to the stock because it's constantly consumed. Anyway, let's continue on here. Futures markets, unlike spot markets, vary in gross and notional exposure based on expiration dates and net interest of physicals versus paper. So they don't allow focused participation in one direction, i.e., people trade both long and short on the curve and physicals versus paper. Furthermore, these markets are subject to supply manipulation by groups like OPEC, among others. That's a very good point. Um, in summary, the Bitcoin ETF options market is the first time the financial world will see regulated leverage on a perpetual commodity that is truly supply constrained. Whoa, guys, wrap your brains around that. This isn't just unlocking a typical market for or a typical financialization tool for Bitcoin. This is the first time ever in the history of the world that these will be applied to something with a fixed supply. Whoa. Whoa. This could get exciting here. Things will likely get wild. In such scenarios, regulated markets may shut down. But the remarkable thing about Bitcoin is that there's always a parallel decentralized market that can't be shut down, unlike GameStop, which, as you can imagine, will add even more fuel to the fire. Yeah, people will be leaking out into the spot market trying to grab as much of this as they can. It's going to be unbelievably fantastic. Okay, so again, that is from Jeff Park. The handle is DGT10011. Some binary there for you guys. Okay, so that came out today. Let's take a look at the price. And you can see I was looking at Ethereum. I was just talking about that. Let's look at quickly Ethereum versus Bitcoin. And it's totally flat on the day. It doesn't have any of its own fundamentals. It trades strictly on being like Bitcoin. That's one reason why it's a scam. And I've called it an affinity scam forever. All of these cryptos are affinity scams. They don't exist without Bitcoin. Ethereum right here, it just is like a Bitcoin derivative that underperforms Bitcoin. Why own it? The opportunity cost is owning Bitcoin. But okay, let's go to the Bitcoin chart. Big day today here, extending gains. It did not hit 69,000. It's $2 short. 68,998 was the high for the day. Right now it's sitting at 68,419, but it's looking really, really good. I did put out a premium post for people, so you guys can check that out on bitcoinandmarkets.com. That the premium content's $15 a month. I put out a post a week, roughly, and I go over not just Bitcoin, but I go over macro and all that stuff. So, okay, let's take a look at comments here before I continue. Happy Friday, everybody. Dex Invictus back with us. What's going on? Zero expiration. In my opinion, greedy market makers want to get their slice of the pie from the options. Yes. Yes. But what does Bitcoin do? Bitcoin aligns incentives. So, yes, there's going to be paper Bitcoin, okay? But it's not going to be a sustainable paper market. And what happens, like, okay, so Bitcoin, the market cap goes up to 10 trillion or something, okay? And maybe people will argue, oh, half of that is paper. Well, when that can't continue on for very long, and when it deflates, everyone's going to be rushing for spot Bitcoin. Everyone's going to be rushing for spot Bitcoin. So yes, they're going to do paper Bitcoin. There's going to be blow ups. Bitcoin is volatile, like we just say, in melt ups and melt downs. But everybody's aligned in a direction, and that direction is towards Bitcoin adoption. Because are you going to have your business, say you're some major fund manager, trillions in assets under management. I mean, and you're going to be running all these sophisticated type of trades, and you're not going to put a little bit of spot Bitcoin into your portfolio? Probably. You probably will. So Bitcoin works on the individual, but all the incentives are aligned for Bitcoin adoption. This is a huge deal. And yeah, just remember, have a 5-year time horizon. We're not trying to pick tops and bottoms. It's going to be a wild ride. I'm here with you guys to uh, go along this ride and learn as much as we can along the way. Like, I'm not any options expert, but I bet I'll learn a lot more over the coming months about options just because of this thing. So, all right, what else do we have? All right, let's take a look at Telegram, see if there's any other comments in there. All right, nothing. So, moving on with price. Let's take a look at some of these other things I was watching today. And that is the Bitcoin ETFs. We'll share this tab. And man, oh man, is it just exploding higher? I mean, this is a crazy amount of flows. So last 5 days, we're at over 2 billion in the last 5 trading days. 2 billion. So are you telling me that these people didn't know something about these options? I actually did see a tweet from yesterday when I was looking for that Jeff Park tweet where someone said, "Hey, I'm hearing rumors that the Bitcoin options is coming very soon." And so, are you kidding me that these guys didn't know? Look at all of this demand. And it's I thought it was going to tail off when this went to 370 right here. I thought this was going to tail off, but no, it has ramped up actually over the last 2 days. So this demand is insatiable. Let's go back to this post, and I want to pull up my chart because I follow this and I do chart it. So let's go down here to the ETFs. As you can see, tons and tons of charts on the premium content, and that's the liquidations, ETF flows. So here we go. Bitcoin ETF cumulative flows, and look at this spike up here. Now, it's true that this isn't a one-to-one. Okay, so this is Bitcoin's coming off the market, but Bitcoins will tend to go into the ETF and come out. I mean, there is periods where they come out. However, the outflows are much more reserved than the inflows. So what does this tell us? That these are stronger hands than normal. The retail people that are buying and selling, the day traders, they have weak hands and they sell on the dips. Well, not very much is coming out of the ETFs during the dips. So if we draw a line from the all-time high to uh, basically this was the all-time high of inflows, what corresponded with the all-time high. And if we draw a line, we're $8 billion more than we were at the all-time high, yet we're 6% off the all-time high, probably 7% now. So this is huge. This is just built up, pent up demand that is going to catch up. Okay, they're going to catch up to this. Really, the price to match these inflows should be significantly higher than the all-time high already. Maybe not 100,000, but looking at these inflows, you could say, "Oh yeah, 80, 90,000. That's fair for how many inflows have just come in to Bitcoin from the ETFs." So there you go. That's that. And what else did I want to talk about? We did that. Let's go to this. This is going to be the last one here, guys, and then we're going to see what your comments are. And okay, so this is the heat map from CoinGlass. It's at coinglass.com. In their metrics, you can see all their different metrics they have over here. Really pushing up on this 70,000. Now, when I say in the thumbnail and stuff, hey, we're squeezing shorts, this is what I mean. These are these terrified shorts up here, a lot of them. So just at this section right here, in this little square where my cursor's on, it's 11 billion. If you go one square below that, it's 5 billion. So these are shorts that are terrified and they're getting squeezed right now. As soon as price goes up here, it doesn't have to liquidate them. They can add to their margin, I'm guessing, to put their liquidation actually higher. But why would you do that? Why would you do that at an all-time high? It doesn't make any sense because Bitcoin is going higher. Options just got approved. All of these inflows into the ETF. Trump is favored right now. and talking about a Bitcoin stockpile, Bitcoin reserve. Everything is just very, very bullish for Bitcoin. Why would you add more margin and go up here? People will do it, but these people, a lot of these will be liquidated, and this is tens and tens of billions of dollars of liquidations as this goes up here. So these are the shorts being squeezed that are being terrified right now. And so let's see what would be this. I mean, this would be an all-time high, right? Or does it go back even more than 6 months? Okay, let me go back even more than 6 months. Let me go back 1 year. Because yes, it's been 8 months since we've been consolidating here. And so yeah, all-time high here. I mean, look at this. Oh my goodness. At the all-time high, it's 20 billion in this little chunk. Tens, and I mean, we're looking at around, if you add all this together, it's like 100 billion, guys. And these will be liquidated. Right here, this where I have my cursor, you can't really see my cursor very well, but it's right at the 70,500 mark, 28 billion. What? This is insane. So yeah, all these shorts are going to get squeezed, and Bitcoin could just rip right up through that. I talked about it previously as slipping, and let's go to the price chart, and I'll kind of explain what slipping is. Let me get rid of this red guy here. That's not a technical term. That's my technical term. And we'll go to the weekly. Okay, volume by price. And you can see, actually, let me try to get this section in here. Did it change anything? All right, so volume by price. When volume is high here, that's going to be an area of resistance or support, because you're revisiting a level where a lot of people transacted Bitcoin. So for example, like let's say you're a trader and you put in a trade at 57,000, right in this peak. You bought there. Well, when price gets back down to 57,000, you might have a stop loss, right? And so that grabs your attention. Something about this level grabbed attention previously, and so it's likely to grab attention again. Charting, my school of charting is really just try to think of where the Schelling points are, where people's attention has been or is on the chart, and those are important levels. So right here, this peak at 67,000, that's an important level because it has been in the past. But the way we slip up or upward is that there is nothing above the all-time high. Obviously, there's no volume above the all-time high. There's no resistance. There's no important levels. All you have is that all-time high. That's that really important Schelling point above us. We're above all the moving averages. We're above everything. There is no Schelling point here. So once it starts moving, it could kind of stop a little bit at the all-time high. And why is this so big? It could stop a little bit at the all-time high, but once it gets past that Schelling point, I mean, it's just going to slip higher. There's nothing to consolidate your orders around. So people looking to sell, there's round numbers is about all you got. You also have Fibonacci extensions, but there's not a major Fibonacci extension till way higher, like 90 up to 100,000. So there's nothing really between all-time high and 80,000. And then there's nothing really between 80,000 and 90,000. So the price could just gap higher. All right, so that's that. Let me take a look at any sort of comments here. Meme coin Pew. I have no idea. I don't know if that's actually a funny saying or you're wanting me to take a look at a coin. I'm not looking at any meme coins. I know they're all scams. But while we're here waiting for any comments, let me check Telegram, see if there's any more in there. No. What was this one? Oh, point. Yeah, you agreed with me that there were some insiders knowing about this. I agree. Those somebody knew something. All right, let's run through some other markets here. Gold, and I'll take this volume off. Big day for gold, 2720. I think it's getting close. It's getting close to a top. So if we take a look at the RSI, I mean, this was a very high RSI period right here as well. I had to put my other screen up so I can see what I'm doing. And so this was a very high RSI period, as you can tell, and it did consolidate. It didn't crash. So this doesn't mean we have to crash. We could stair step higher, but really it's gone a long way up here, consolidate up. I'm thinking we're kind of in a area where we could see some downward price movement on gold, being that the RSI is significantly elevated. That's on the weekly. Even on a daily, it's pretty elevated. This would be a bearish divergence on gold if we kept this up. So this would be a higher high and a higher high on price and a lower high on RSI. If we turn around here starting next week, I'm bullish gold from a fundamental perspective. I think it's going to go higher, but right now on a technical perspective, I think it needs to cool down a little bit. Okay, dollar came down a little today after a wild ride. We talked about this on Wednesday, didn't we? I think we did. And yeah, so I said it's looking for, like, it's getting a little overheated. Maybe same thing with gold, right? Same kind of story. It's getting a little overheated. Maybe it needs to consolidate, and we have a significant down day today. If we zoom in on this candle, it's not technically bearish engulfing, but it's a pretty significant down candle here for the day. Okay, how about US 10-year? I have not looked at this recently. Okay, it did go back up, which is interesting. Okay, but it bears push, or bond bulls pushed this back down. So did not get back to a swing high. So it's going to be a lower high, push back down, and probably, I'm guessing, I'm educated guessing here, that this is going to go down. This peak is now over for the time being. Oil, big down day, crashing through this trend line that we drew on Wednesday. Not looking good. How about stocks? Green on the day, but nothing significant to report. Okay, so that's it. Let me go back to Bitcoin and see if there's any comments, and then we're going to wrap it up here on Friday. So I'll give you guys a couple more minutes to put any comments in. If you guys are watching on Twitter, 133 people watching, most of you on Twitter, jump over to the YouTube or Rumble. The links are in my pinned tweet. Like, comment, subscribe over there. I'll give you a minute or two here if you want to do that. Just a few away from the 500 mark, which is monetization, as far as I can tell, on the back end of YouTube. So that is what I'm going for. So like, comment, subscribe over there. All right. Nothing else from Telegram. Waiting to see if we get any more comments here. Thank you, Dex. Hope you have a good weekend. So I have been putting out these live streams as podcasts. You can find that on the podcast, on your podcast apps. If you go to bitcoinandmarkets.com/find-us, you can find where all of my stuff is. I am putting out stuff on Substack as well. I'm on Noster. I am on Truth, Instagram. Follow me on all those. I don't do the Facebook page at all. And Telegram link is here as well. So check out that if you're trying to find the different places where you can listen to the podcast or uh, find us. Other comments here? All right, well, then I'm going to wrap it up for the day, guys. Have a great weekend. Hope you spend time with friends and family. That's what's really important. We get caught up in Bitcoin. We get really excited when options get approved for Bitcoin, but that's not what's really important. It's those relationships in your life. So you need to feed those relationships and pay attention to them, and spend time with people. Sometimes it's just quality time that you need to spend. So yeah, hope all is well in your guys' world, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.